Hey, what's up you guys? Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency, and in this video, we're going to talk about how you can scale your construction business to $1 million or more. Now, if you're a contractor and maybe you're doing around like 300,000, 400,000 with your business, and maybe you have a couple solid guys on your crew that you're working with, and you're trying to grow your business, maybe you're struggling to get enough quality leads or land enough jobs, and maybe you've grown a little bit before and then things slowed down and you had to shrink again and lay a bunch of people off, and you're kind of just through this roller coaster, right? You just keep growing, shrinking, and you can't seem to really grow. Or maybe you've plateaued for a couple years, right? You're trying to grow, but for whatever reason, now just relying on referrals isn't enough and you're just really trying to scale your business. I want to break down to you what I've seen from our clients. If you don't know, we're helping our clients make, millions of dollars, go from doing 400 to $1 million to 2 million. I want to break down what I've seen and just from the top construction business owners that we've spoken to and seeing what they say and what I've learned from that. I want to share with you just a really simple roadmap that maybe you're stuck in right now. You haven't seen the full light. It's kind of like when you're driving a car on a highway and it's super dark out and you only see maybe the next 10 feet in front of you as you're driving and it gets revealed to you as you go. Well, I want to turn all of the lights on and just show you straight to the end of the path, so that if you are sitting around 400,000 or so and you're trying to get to that million, but you're just struggling for whatever reason, then I want to break down to you the path that we've done with our clients and what I've seen from other construction business owners. So without further ado, let's jump right into things. Now, the first thing is, let's say, I want to paint a picture. Let's say you're doing around 300,000 or 400,000 a year. Odds are that probably you're doing maybe a little bit of marketing. Maybe you're posting in Facebook groups. Maybe you've got a Google business listing set up, something like that. But you don't really have your marketing really down. Most of what you rely on is referrals, right? And you've worked for a hard, long years and you've built up this great reputation and people refer you, and that's why you've grown your business. And you're experimenting a little bit with marketing, but nothing too crazy. And maybe you've got, a group of guys together, good solid crew, maybe, 2, 3, maybe 7 guys. And you guys are all really good at what you do, but you're working on the tools and, you're kind of in this situation where you're working really, really hard and you're trying to grow, but you're kind of just plateauing. Well, basically, I'll lay out kind of the first things that need to happen if you're in that stage. So if you're in that stage, the first thing that you need to crack and figure out is, how can I start getting consistent jobs coming in that don't rely on just referrals? This is going to be a very important piece because a lot of construction business owners think that they need to get a crew together and then turn on the marketing and get everything together perfect and then get all the jobs. The opposite is actually true. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out, how can I start attracting consistent, high quality jobs into my business? And I'll tell you why you need to crack that. Because once you figure that out, and now you don't have to worry about lead flow and jobs coming in, now you've got these jobs coming in, the next thing that you can really dial down is your sales, right? Because most contractors aren't actually very good at sales. A lot of contractors think they're good at sales, but what really the situation really is that most of their leads are just referrals. And so referrals are going to be very easy for you to close because the people trust you, you've been referred, right? Blah, blah, blah. You don't need to be very good at sales to close a referral. However, if you figure out how to start generating your own leads and landing your own jobs, then you do need to be able to figure out how to crack sales. And I'll say the number one thing that I've seen that contractors will do that kind of kicks them in their own butt when it comes to sales is that they're very good at educating clients. They'll walk them through everything that they need to do and everything, giving them all these tips and telling them everything that's involved and blah, blah, blah. But they can't close the job. And you're not there to be a teacher. You're not there to just, give people information for free. You're there to give the person enough information they need to be able to make a decision, and then be able to take that momentum, be able to close the client, get the contract signed, collect the money, and start the job. A lot of contractors kind of have this like, yeah, like here's all this information, and like you can kind of do whatever you want from here. Here's the estimate, like I'll let you make your decision. That's not sales. Like you're literally just giving someone information and kind of stepping away. In many cases, over-educating a client is just going to leave them more confused, and then you are not going to get the job and they're not going to do anything. So if over-educating someone is your idea of being a professional, there are lines to that, and you need to be able to learn how to close someone if you want to get to that next level into your business, right? So the first thing is really cracking the marketing. You need to crack the marketing and figure that out. You cannot grow your business if you don't crack the marketing. You don't want to grow your business if you don't crack the marketing. Because I've seen it time and time again, what's going to happen is if you grow your business off of just referrals alone, and then you aren't attracting any of your own leads, you're going to build up this big crew, and then when times get tough, you're going to have to lay them all off, and you're going to go backwards. So you need to crack the marketing. Once you crack the marketing, then what you need to do is figure out how to crack the sales, and you need to get really good at the sales process. Once you have that figured out, now you're in a really good position to start scaling. You're in a very good position because what you have now is a sales cycle, a sales process that can be rinse and repeat. You have a way to repeatedly bring money into the business and repeatedly do that time and time again, no matter what happens. And that is going to be the most powerful asset that you have for scaling. And this is how contractors scale. Once you figure out the marketing and sales, now you're selling and you can repeatedly bring in those new jobs. And guess what? Now you can actually afford to pay people properly and be able to grow a world-class team. The number one reason why most contractors lose their guys and they can't build a crew is because they're not bringing in A players, and then they're not paying people properly, right? The reason that you're not able to bring in an A player is because they want to be paid a certain amount and they're going to get the job done really, really well. It's so much easier to be able to grow your company if you have A players on your team. Trust me when I say this. Before, when I was building our team in Savant Marketing Agency, it's a lot harder to, kind of like have part-time people and maybe people who aren't super experienced. Whereas when you bring A players into your business, like we've done now, it's going to elevate you to another level because you're not going to have to worry about babysitting those people, and they're just going to be able to come in and do their job and do it really, really well. But they're going to expect a higher level of leadership, and you're going to have to be able to pay them properly. And the way to do that is by figuring out the marketing and sales. Because once you figure that out, then you can start bringing people in. Money fixes all problems. Let's be real. Once you have money coming in, you're able to attract that A player, right? And this is how you're starting to build that solid crew. You can build a solid crew below you, and it's like now you're just focusing on sales. You should not be on the tools at this point, right? This is the time when you crack the sales and you crack the marketing. You've got all these jobs coming in. You hire one guy who's like your foreman, who's kind of like, your project supervisor. Like he's leading everything. He's overseeing the crew. Now you can start getting off the tools, right? And this is where you can start really getting momentum to hit that $1 million mark. Because in order to hit that $1 million, you need to get off the tools. I've seen other guys who are like still on the tools and like they've still achieved that, but they're super, super busy. They're just working all the time. If you want to have any kind of quality of life, then you need to get off the tools and you need to become more of a manager. You need to focus on sales and marketing. That is how you start scaling your construction business. And so now you're focusing on the sales, you're focusing on the marketing, you've got your crew under you, and this is when you can start really hammering out the jobs and then get your production really dialed in, and then your team is just implementing for you and building out the jobs and doing all the production, right? And it's like, I would say the number one spot where most contractors get stuck is they never get to the point where they can fully get off the tools. And the reason you can't get off the tools is because you don't have your sales and marketing dialed in. And so the number one thing that I've seen that holds contractors back is not being able to figure out the marketing and sales process. Like if you're trying to scale your business, the number one thing you should be like obsessed about is like, how can we figure out our sales process so that we have consistent new jobs just coming in all the time? Because once you have that figured out, then you can afford to hire people under you, pay them what they're worth, and then you can start building a world-class team. And your quality of life is going to be so much better when you hit that million too, because you actually are running a real business that has systems that like protects you, right? If you're only relying on referrals, it's going to be very, very difficult to grow your business. And so this is what I've seen. And this is, what we've helped clients get to is just like solving that marketing and sales problem so that you can then hire people and get to another level. So many guys think that you need to build out the team, build out the crew, and get to this point where you have like everything perfect, and then you turn on the marketing. It's the other way around. That's going to make it so much easier for you. Like I said, money is going to fix a lot of problems for you. When you have all this money coming in from these jobs, then you're able to even hire subcontractors. Like people are like, oh, what happens if I fill myself up with work and then I get to this point where I'm overwhelmed? Well, just find a good subcontractor and sub it out or book out further, right? This is not going to be as hard of an issue to solve than if you've got like a crew of 10 guys and all of a sudden, you're not getting any more referrals and then you have to lay everyone off, right? And then you shrink again. And so this is the clear path to building $1 million construction business. You got to figure out the marketing first. Once you figure that out, you got to dial in the sales. Once you dial in the sales, you got the jobs coming in, you got the money coming in, then you can hire A players to take over the operations for you. You can slowly get out, and now you're just managing people. You're working on the marketing, you're working on the sales, you're working on the high level stuff and not production anymore. And that's it. That's pretty much what it comes down to. That's what I've seen. That's what we've done. And if you have any questions about this, comment below. I'd love to hear your advice or your thoughts or questions. If you found this video helpful and it was illuminating to you, give it a thumbs up. Would really appreciate it. And if you want to learn a little bit more about our agency, Savant Marketing, we work specifically with contractors. You can go to www.savantmarketingagency.com. So again, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.